Mula, I'm DJ Toro. Join me every Monday to Thursday, 7 until midnight. The premium classics on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
On FBC News tonight, bodies found in Nabua Creek identified. Man pleads guilty to murder. And poultry farmer to supply local supermarkets. Bulavanaka and welcome to FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. The bodies of two people who were found in a river between Nasasa and Vakambale, Nabua yesterday have been identified. Police have confirmed they are Krishna Sami Naidu and Ella Joanne Blakelock, who were reported missing on 21st June 2013. They were last seen leaving Lotoka on the night of 19th June. The deceased, both of Capture Fiji, were found in this car, which is believed to have gone off the road, bumped the edge of the bridge before plunging into the river. The vehicle sustained extensive damage to the front portion, with the windscreen shattered. Investigations are underway to determine the events that led up to the accident. A 24-year-old man today pleaded guilty to killing a 53-year-old woman in Malele, Tavua 2 weeks ago. In his first appearance in the Tavua Magistrates Court, Vinendra Kumar opted to take his plea and accepted the murder charge. Kumar also opted to represent himself. He admitted to killing Sitamma on June 15th and fleeing the scene. He surrendered himself to police 3 days later. He refused bail and chose to remain in custody. The case will be called on August 2nd at the Lotoka High Court. The demand for wheelchairs is increasing in Fiji, so much so that authorities are now struggling to meet the demand. As Shireen Lata reports, this is due to the increasing number of amputations carried out in the country.
The Spinal Injury Association are expecting around 135 wheelchairs to be arriving into the country soon. It may seem like a lot, but if you are well versed with what's happening, you'd realize that this number is far lower than what's actually needed. In this case, about 600 wheelchairs short.
Over the last 5 years, when we brought in more or less our first consignment of assistive and mobility devices, in 2010, it took us about 6 months to clear one 40-footer container of wheelchairs and equipments. By 2011, we had to bring in one 40-footer, one 20-footer. In 2012, last year, there was actually 4 shipments. Now this year, there's 6 shipments that's been confirmed.
Joshko Wakaniasi says while it may be too late for many, there's still a lot more people out there who could avoid or reduce the need for more wheelchairs by simply adopting a healthier lifestyle.
At times, there are 2-3 amputations, per day. It's no longer, NCDs or something when we talk about diabetes. Just 2 decades ago, it was related to people who are 60 and beyond. That because of diabetes, that they will become visually impaired, they could become amputated. Now it has no respect for age, gender and race.
While the Spinal Injury Association is trying its best to accommodate those who are amputated, people are asked to take more responsibility.
Key question one should ask is, how many of these people are more or less repeat amputations? One could come in more or less today for diabetes and they'll amputate more or less just a few toes. And they're more or less given a diet which is then not followed. They return back to hospital within a few weeks, within a few months, and then there's further amputation.
Each year, around 500 people are amputated in Fiji. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Do not be content if you have the means to expand your business for the benefit of your family. This is the message one farmer in the north is relaying to the rest of Fiji as he claims to be a living testimony of his own advice. Ritika Pratap with this story.
This is Abdul Hamid, who has been a cane farmer all his life. Just recently, he ventured into poultry farming, and with a little help from the government, he's never looked back.
This one I mostly learned from other farmers practical when I went to see crushed chicken in Suba. So when I saw the thing, then the interest came in because the sugarcane I was doing the farming, less money was coming there. So I thought of this is my sideline business to let my children study.
Hamid began the poultry business with close to 10,000 chicks, out of which 7,000 successfully grew into chickens. Out of this, he has sold 2,000 live chickens and plans to process others for local supermarkets. He has received a grant of $40,000 from the government through its Northern Development Program to install a processing plant.
Packing machines and the thing with plucking machines, it came from China and it is in Australian standard.
Like any other business, Hamid also faces some challenges, like not getting the chicks on time, but this hasn't deterred him.
I got my own hatchery now and I will be starting that one. I already started to test that one. I already put 500 eggs there to start it, and if it runs well, so hatchery capacity is 8,400.
Hamid's venture has even created opportunities for other farmers in the north.
My only set is 10,000, but I'm asking other farmers of Banwa Lebu to get in the chickens, produce the chickens, and I'll buy it and pack it, because I got the slaughterhouse factory here in which we will be processing it.
The Health Ministry has given its approval for processing, and Hamid is now awaiting final approval from the Agriculture Ministry for him to start supplying local supermarkets. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Still in the north, and AusAid Fiji has opened its first ever Community Development Office in Lambasa. Development Officer Joanne Clark, speaking at the opening yesterday, says this will see much needed assistance to the vulnerable and marginalized. AusAid has invested $7.5 million into Fiji so far this year. A recent poverty analysis on the challenges faced by the people of Vanua Levu led to the permanent presence in the north. Clark says the Australian government is committed to helping the people of Fiji with over $100 million set aside for AusAid projects in the coming years.
In addition, there remain approximately 250,000 people in Fiji living in poverty. Evidently, this means despite Fiji's immense natural and human resources, a lot remains to be done to develop the nation.
Still to come on FBC News, business opportunities for Fijians in the Solomon Islands.
How would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this. Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the Morning Ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Hit Music.
Nimbula, methangu nimilote na isoro tambua. Nama kia umina rua kina ona na via kavi moniti kina whakarombuka. Rongo mena via sana kina viva ka barota kini ndreko malolo. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na buongani pia niano. Ngai nama kia kina.
Welcome back to FBC News. Police investigators are expected to question people who were at the scene of a murder crime in the Northern Division as they try to establish the origins of the photos of the two victims currently in circulation via email. Police spokesperson Anna Naisora says the CID is heading the investigation and those who were at the scene of the crime prior to police's arrival are expected to be questioned first. Naisora says they are deeply concerned at what's happened and will investigate the motive behind circulating the pictures, as they could also be charged for tampering with evidence. The Fiji Police Force is calling on the public, particularly those circulating the pictures, to stop, as it only causes more grief and pain to the suffering families. A warning has also been given against the posting of issues on social networking sites before the matter is reported to police. Naisora says this action only serves to cause unnecessary panic and fear amongst the public and will not be condoned, as this could also be considered as an act of spreading false rumors. BirdLife International has given $1.3 million through its Darwin initiative to Nature Fiji Marangete Viti to ensure stakeholders work to protect endangered species of birds in Fiji. Nature Fiji's director Nunia Thomas says the funds will enable them to work more closely with landowners in preserving wildlife. Wasita Kote Wasawasa reports.
Nature Fiji Marangaitiviti is working to ensure that landowners protect the survival of species within its natural resources. The main advantage is that landowners are willing to work with them in their projects.
Over 90% of the land in Fiji is owned by indigenous landowners, so it is really our responsibility as landowners to make sure that these plants and animals continue to survive. But not only for their survival, but also because of the benefits that we get from our forests.
Thomas adds the grant will enable stakeholders to conduct more fieldwork. One is to translate the various documents available for the indigenous landowners.
So the project looks at empowering local communities to manage their forests better. You know, if they're going to go into logging, then to make sure that they conduct logging in a manner that is sustainable.
Deputy British High Commissioner Dan Slater says that the Darwin Initiative demonstrates a sustained commitment by the UK government to the protection of biodiversity around the world.
Sustainable forestry management is vital for not only for the forests themselves, but of course all the species that live inside the forest. And we're very clear in the UK that this is a really top priority for us.
Nature Fiji Marangaitiviti is working with over 300 land-owning units or matangali around the country to protect their natural heritage. Vasita Kotiwasawasa, FBC News.
Fijians are now enjoying one of the biggest tax cuts. This is an effort by government to boost investment and business as well as balance the needs and demand of the people. Epeli Tukuwasa reports.
Speaking during the Fiji Institute of Surveyors meeting, Acting Prime Minister Ayaz Zayat Kiyum says more than 90% of Fijians have received tax cuts.
On the economic front, we are in the midst of transforming the economy dramatically, lowering taxes for almost all the years. Many of you may not know, but the tax cuts we have received are enjoying 90.5% of Fijians receive the tax cuts.
He says all Fijians who earn less than $270,000 have received tax cuts. This tax cut is also enjoyed by businesses in Fiji.
And of course, for businesses, we have lowered the corporate tax 20%, 17.5% for those companies that establish a regional or global head office in Fiji. ANZ is already doing that. They're moving their regional head office from Melbourne to Suva.
Zayat Kiyum says government is doing this to generate more growth, generate more jobs, generate more business and investment in Fiji. Epeli Tukwasa, FBC News.
Fiji is a leader in business opportunities in the region, especially within the Melanesian Spearhead group of countries. With an increase in Fiji-owned businesses in the Solomon Islands, opportunities will increase when a new business council is set up soon. Akasita Tale with more.
More than 20 Fijian-owned businesses are operating in the Solomon Islands. With good business potentials in the country, there are plans to increase the numbers and encourage investors.
First and foremost, to set up a Solomon Island Fiji Business Council, because we have about 20 business entity here, to set up a Solomon Island Fiji Business Council. We intend to do that before the year ends.
Taveuni businessman Reginald Douglas owns the biggest civil construction company in the capital and says it's one of the best countries to invest in. He is also the president of the Fijian community there and is encouraging Fijians here to consider investing in the Solomon Islands.
The government has a lot of incentives for business people in Solomon Islands, especially new business people.
However, there is a trend in the Pacific where locals are focused more on labor mobility, taking our workers from Fiji to the rest of the MSG countries. This is one of the factors that has led to the increase in Asian businesses set up in the Pacific.
They are here to set up business. They don't only come and work. They are here to set up business. Whereas with us, MSG countries, we are just going to be employed here and there. But with them, they have a different approach altogether.
The Solomon Islands is being used as an example of the potential that exists within MSG countries that will further enhance trade of goods and services and reduce the over-reliance on more developed countries. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
In sports news ahead, school ruggers show up for national trials.
Isambol binaka, nadhango waji sodi ndalai, na makio mani wasi ningono borota kina lali ne kabi, maina tolu kina vitu, ena moni tingina por rombuka, ena mbula FM, na bandu ena serre.
सूरज की पहली किरण के साथ दिन की शुरुआत कीजिए। सुबह का मंगल प्रभात आपको शुभ हो। सुबह सुबह हो खुशियों का मेला, ना लोगों की परवाह ना दुनिया का झमेला। पंछियों का संगीत हो और मौसम अलबेला। मुबारक हो आपको ये खूबसूरत सवेरा। हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक सुबह 6 से लेकर 9 बजे तक शामिल रहें रेडियो फीजी 2 पर हम सफर में रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
Leading FBC Sports tonight, Suva has climbed back on top of the Digicel Cup table today after defeating Nandi 13-8 at the ANZ Stadium. Suva lead 13-0 at half-time, while Nandi scored all their points in the second spell. In other results, Naitasiri scored a convincing 45-17 win over Madhuwata. Watukola upset Lotoka 21-11. Namosi defeated Northland 31-15, while Nandronga defeated Overlau 26-0. Selection for a national under-18 side to tour Australia in September has started. More than 64 school ruggers turned up at Suva Grammar today to stake a claim to a national jumper. But the recruitment of players has not stopped. More players will be drafted in after the national rugby finals. Shalvin Chand has more.
Players whose teams have failed to make the quarterfinals of the national competition were invited to the trials today.
This is not the final trials, so we'll look at them next week on the Dean's quarterfinal, the under-18 Dean's. Including the under-17 too. We need some under-17 too to be in the squad too. And also in the under-18, and after that, the final trials will be on week 13.
Fiji has always performed well in the under-18 grade, but lack of competition has seen the same team drop the ball.
The under-18 secondary school performance overseas tour was very good, and compared to the under-20 and all that, because there were lots of matches around in Fiji because of that rugby commitments in the secondary schools.
The Fiji Secondary Schools Rugby Association is hoping to make the most of this tour.
There will be 3 games against Australia and New Zealand, and also there are some provincial games with other games. They have been, we have been organizing some of the games with some of the state's schools there.
It's believed that the under-18 players selected for the Australian tour will also get a chance to be part of the Rugby Academy, which the Fiji Rugby Union hopes to revive. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
The Eastern Division Secondary Schools Rugby Finals were on today as well. RKS reigned supreme in the under-19 grade, beating Laline 17-16 in a close affair. In the under-18 grade, QVS and RKS played to a 6-all draw. In the under-15 grade, QVS beat RKS 7-0, while in the under-17, Laline beat RKS 6-3. All finalists from the Eastern Zone make it to the national quarterfinals. The City Storm Rugby League team have been knocking on the doors of the top-tier competition for some time and feel that this year they will make a move into the top 8 of the Vodafone Cup. Storm is hoping to rise above the daily challenges they face to become a powerhouse in local rugby league competition. Shalvin Chand reports.
The unpredictable Suva weather has been the City Storm's biggest obstacle this year. Wet conditions means their training ground, Albert Park, is closed.
Especially like the ground level, and since Rugby League hasn't been able to maintain some of the grounds for good competitions. So yeah, no, it's been tough going for the year.
This year has been a learning experience for the Storm. They hope to take all that and use it to their advantage.
A few improvements during the year, but we're sort of looking towards performing towards some concept of the games, like improving it within the next year's season. So hopefully this year is a good build-up for a good year again next year.
While the bigger aim is to make it to the top 8, development to ensure a future player base is also important for the team.
The development is great, you know. We've been getting help from the FNRL, you know, on the development coachings and clinics and those sort of workshops, which really help, you know, the players to adapt, you know, and to learn more new skills in how the game is being played.
FNRL's Vodafone Cup is slowly inching towards playoffs, and in the coming weeks it will be known which teams come out shining and which have to go back to the drawing board. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
Tavuni and Raketi have set up a decider tomorrow in the Fiji Sun GP Batteries National Football Northern Premier League. Today, Tavuni beat Bua 4-1 while Raketi edged Senganga 1-0. The result means Tavuni is 2 points clear of Raketi and only needs a draw to claim the North title. However, Raketi could snatch that if they win tomorrow. The Lomaiviti grads caused the upset of the day in the New World Suva Netball semi-finals, played at the multipurpose courts in Lodhala Bay this afternoon. The side defeated top favourite CBM 30-26 in the feature match. Also coming out on top today was Rovers, which beat Veyasana Blacks 10-7. It was an easy semi-final for Veyasana Red, which won by default over USB Mermaids. While the most heated up games occurred in the men's competition, where USB Reefs beat Lomaiviti Dynamics 29-26. In other results, Veyasana Blue, Lomaiviti Queens and Lady of Lords were premier winners. After today's mixed results, the finals will surely be something to look forward to. St. Joseph's hockey team seemed to be the hardest nuts to crack in the Fiji secondary schools competition. Their under-16 and under-19 teams dominated the playoffs at the National Hockey Centre in Suva today, as all other teams fought to qualify for the big round of games in Levuka in 4 weeks' time. Elena McDonald reports.
Being the playoffs, games were expected to be intense. And while the girls' competition was in full swing today, the Southern Zone sadly only has 2 boys' teams to show for, in Maris Brothers and Gospel High, which have already qualified but will play midweek.
There were other schools like Nambo Secondary, Suva Grammar and Lodhala Bay Secondary Schools, but they have pulled out due to reasons that I'm not really sure of.
Come next week, only the top 3 teams from Suva, the West and Levuka will meet a month from now to compete in the Super 8 competition in the old capital.
The reason why we are taking it to Levuka is because of the development of the sport. We want all the schools to have access, or we want all the schools to really appreciate the kind of environment that is for playing, not only on the turf but also on the grass.
And taking the games back to the heart of hockey has been a plan in the making for over a year. St. Joseph's continued their unbeaten run while Andidakambao and Gospel came off with strong wins too. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
As expected, rain was experienced countrywide today. Despite this, Lautoka remained a warm 31 degrees. Suva was the coolest at 28 degrees. Rain should continue tomorrow, and with the exception of Lambasa, Savusavu and Suva, other centres should expect the skies to start clearing from tomorrow afternoon. The future outlook has good news. Rain will continue into the new week but start easing by midweek. The headlines again. Bodies found in Navua Creek identified as missing duo Krishnaswamy Naidu and Ella Blakelock. Man pleads guilty to Tavua murder. And poultry farmer to supply local supermarkets in the north. To the poll question now, and we ask, is Fiji emerging as a Melanesian spearhead group leader? Visit www.fbc.com.fj to take part. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. Until next time, good night.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है। 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली रेनू। सुनते रहिए मिर्ची एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।